We are all back and we are live. It is Fight IQ presented by RotoWire. Here to talk UFC 279. Our main event is insert fighter name A against insert fighter name B.
And I am looking forward to it.
As of right now, it is the fight we all want. You know what? Let me get through the intro first. I'm your host of Daily Fantasy Sniper, go by Sniper MMA, co-host, the analyst, the important guys of the show. Returning after a couple months off, it is Chris Olson. Find him on Twitter at Real Chris Olson, and Joe also goes by at Sun Tzu. I'm going to take the intro to this one before I kick it to you guys and ask you how you are, because I think we got crazy price issues. We got 3 new fights at the top of the card. The new fights, if you don't know: Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, 5-round main event. Kevin Holland, Khamzat Chimaev, 5-round co-main event. And the Leech Li Jingliang taking on Daniel Rodriguez as a regular 3-round fight, third fight from the top. And from DFS, this is a goddamn disaster, all of it. But in terms of watching for fights, all 3 of these fights are better than the originally scheduled fights in terms of what I want to watch. So it's kind of, there's DFS Shaun, not happy. Fight fan Shaun, I'm pretty happy with how this all turned out. So that's my thoughts on the card. What do you guys think about this disaster that unfolded today?
Well, I think first I've got to welcome Chris back. I mean, if anyone wants to know how he got over his nasty IBS issue, it was the adult diapers and rubber sheets. Aside from that, look, I agree with you 100%. I think these, from a fan's perspective, are better fights to watch. It does present some interesting DraftKings strategies, and I generally don't tout other programs I was on, but like Brett Appley, myself, and Technical Tim, we jumped on. We had a quick little ad hoc creating alpha pod where we kind of went over, some of the interesting challenges involved with, the pricing remaining the same, and how, you could do a stack at 13.7. I mean, and you could get a 13.7K stack, which is, I don't think ever happened before in DraftKings.
13-8, and if you're playing cash games, you stack the main event, and if you're not, just take my head to. I mean, look,
I'm not even a big stacker, and I think that's really the play for cash. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for GPPs because I think there's other options, but like for cash, how do you get away from the stack? And then what it comes down to is, there's really, I'm not going to give away the lineup, but there's really one decision you have to make. In the entire, once you put the stack in, there's one legitimate decision you have to make, and that's going to determine who's going to take down cash games.
Shame. Chris, welcome back, and to this shit show of a card. So, I mean, that's fun for you, I guess.
They only bring me around for the good ones, and this is certainly interesting. I was actually a little bit more. I saw a little bit more intrigue in the initial main event than I think some did.
You're out of your mind. You're just come on, that's nonsense.
See, now I don't even get to talk about it, which is I had a whole thing.
Nonsense.
I was still picking Chimaev to be clear.
But, the only thing interesting that could have happened in that main event is the fight rings and Nate says, "I quit," and walks out of the cage before anything starts.
Well, yeah, the
which, by the way, wouldn't have doubted.
Do you guys watch the ceremonial weigh-ins? The ceremonial weigh-ins, they asked Kevin Holland, they're like, "Is this a better fight for you?" And he goes, "Hell no, but it's going to be a lot more interesting."
Did you guys see that Tony Ferguson was like, I guess he was saying hi to Li Jingliang, and he almost tripped over wires again? Did you see that?
God.
That was
I didn't see that. Not even a little surprising. That's oh God.
But I'll be able to hit a little bit of why I like Nate for the Kevin Holland preview. But major curveballs, as Joe said. These are the fights that we would want to see. Li Jingliang gets the short end of the stick here, not only fighting the least known guy, but also gets a catch weight, gets a heavier opponent. So a little rough on him.
A few takeaways that I want to point out anyway is everybody, and I'm stealing tweets, not stealing, but I'm echoing tweets I saw that I agreed with. Don't forget, everyone's talking about who the real gangsters are. This whole, it's been a big thing. Um, Li Jinglang's manager put out a great tweet or a great message through everyone. It's like he's the only one fighting somebody 10 pounds heavier than him. Let's not forget the Leech and all this, because that dude's stepping up big too. And I think another one that I think I saw through Helwani, so I'll give him credit on his day today. Everyone's, I even saw Mark Ramondi for ESPN had the headline like Dana White shuffles saves UFC 2 or whatever it was. Hunter Campbell's the MVP of this. I am firmly, a couple people I've talked to, like Hunter Campbell saved the day for the UFC.
Well, what do you think they had to pay these guys? Because Kevin Holland tweeted out saying that I'm not fighting Khamzat unless it's a 5-round main event. Like, obviously he backed away from that stance because this is a 3-round.
No, it's 5. It's 5.
No, they have
it's 5.
They're doing 5.
It's co-main, but he got 5. There's 2
sure?
5-round fights. 100%.
Yep. Okay, wow.
He got his 5-round fight.
I did not know that. I thought it was 3. Okay, wow, that makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Still bucket loads of money.
I did not realize that.
2 main events out of the deal.
Breaking news beyond me. I thought it was going to be a 3-round fight. Okay, wow.
So, we have a lot to cover for this card. We'll talk about these fights again as we get to. We're going to do a normal breakdown. We'll talk about these. Luckily, these are the last 3 fights of the cards. We can save some of the strategy breakdown for then. Let's get into the fights. Before that, make sure you go to rotowire.com/free for a 10-day free trial to all their premium content. No credit card required. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, whether it's on YouTube, iTunes, wherever. RotoWire MMA. Let's talk some face punching. And this is, it's funny. We started with one of my stronger takes of the card before all this nonsense happened. Darian Weeks, 8,200, taking on Johan Lenese at 8,000. Line on this fight as of right now, of course, the lines are all jacked up because of what's happened. Weeks is minus 120. Lenese is plus 100. I want to point out that the line opened up where I saw Lenese opened up as a small favorite. Small flip since then. Before I give away my take, I'm going to let Chris go first to bait him into what I think he's going to pick the opposite side of what I'm thinking, which is always fun. Plus, he's back. Let's let him go first. Who you got?
Well, I appreciate that, Shaun. And now that you say that, I think I know where you're going. But I have to take Darian Weeks here. And I think
you big dummy. Sorry.
I think it's
oh, man, I was waiting so long to say that.
Oh. I mean, I think that's the first time that's worked, too, because usually when you do that, I end up picking the same guy.
I know, right? It's good to have you back.
Yeah. But, I just – look, we know that Leoness has big power. We saw that against Gabriel Green, but like Gabriel Green, Darian Weeks just keeps coming forward, and I don't trust the gas tank. Notice that he got finished in the round where he made Gabriel Green faceplant. That just doesn't speak well to how he deals with a guy bearing down on him. And Darian Weeks is going to go for the takedown a lot more. That's going to further drain the gas tank. Obviously, Leoness is live for the knockout, so him and GPP, that whole spiel. But I just can't trust the guy who can just be marched down like that. So I have to take Darian Weeks, and you can tell me where the folly is there, Shaun.
Well, first I'll let Joe go. Joe.
All right.
Well, look, I think this is probably a GPP fight, and it's pretty binary. You have you have Weeks late and you have Lioness early. I'm going to take a flyer with the Pride of Canada right here in Lioness. I don't have a strong conviction about this fight, but I do see it as a GPP fight. It's pretty closely lined. I'm guessing, although I don't know this because I don't have the odds up, I'm guessing Lioness has got a better inside the distance prop just simply based on the way he fights. So I will take a flyer on Lioness in GPPs that he will get that early finish, and he really could be a slate breaker. I mean, I don't know that a lot of people are going to be focusing on this fight, but it's very high risk. It's high risk, high reward. I don't know how much Weeks I'm going to have yet. I thankfully have not done a lot of lineups, which I would have to go back and change I've only done a handful.
I was done Thursday, you bastards.
Oh, well, you see, I don't really build most of my lineups till Saturday, so yeah, I don't really have a lot I'm going to have to change. And as a matter of fact, the few that I've already done, I might just leave the way they are, just in case something happens, because I haven't done that many. So yeah, I'll go with Lioness, but not with any strong conviction.
So clearly, I am on Linesse or Lioness or the names are. I'm pretty checked out on names this week. As a host of a podcast, I should be better, but yeah, come at me. I'm also the Pride of Canada, and it's similar. I think comes down to this. I think Gabe Green is better than Darian Weeks. I think the shots Lioness lands on Gabe Green, finish Weeks. That's just how I see the fight going. I think he gets a finish here. I love the price tag. Kind of the key words of why I like Linesse are there. You mentioned slate breaker, big power, get finished. Weeks is hittable. I see paths to big scores. I will admit that Weeks. That's based on DK is Johan plus 250 KO Weeks at 200. That's on the Linesse gas out, because I will admit that if Linesse does not get him out of there, Weeks can finish him via gas tank 100%. So while I'm heavy on Linesse, I'm going to have some of Darian Weeks. I mostly think this is a week to target the first fight of the night, especially with all the attention towards the main event fights. I think this is a great fight to target. I happen to be more on the Linesse side for sure. Next fight up, one that somehow I ended up with a hot take on, I think, which is just weird. I'm interested in what Joe has to say. Melissa Martinez, 8,500. Elise Reed, 7,700. Melissa Martinez is minus 180. Elise Reed plus 155. I unfortunately have caught myself. I've said it many times. I try not to listen to other people's stuff and get influenced that way. And all my stuff was done before I did. But all of a sudden, I see people taking Elise Reed. Elise Reed is a good cash play. I'm like, have we all watched Elise Reed fight? I feel like I'm missing something, because at least my eyes, granted my eyes are shitty, she's bad. She's not a good fighter. And Melissa Martinez has got world-class striking. I think she's just gonna piece her up. I think she beats up Elise Reed on the feet pretty bad. I don't think Elise Reed is very good. I'm gonna give you my hot take right now, because it's a parlay piece I have bet already, just for a little bit of pocket change, because I can't, as much as I think Melissa Martinez is going to win, more my leverage on this play for DFS is just to be under to all the Elise Reed love I'm seeing. Melissa Martinez, round 1 KO plus 700. Little sprinkle. Joe, go ahead and join the Elise Reed party that I don't get.
I know. You guys are going to be disappointed, because I'm supposed to be the chick whisperer. I don't really have a super strong conviction on this fight. I mean,
it actually makes me feel better versus all the Reed stuff I've been seeing.
Yeah, I like that Martinez is 25 years old. 5'2" with a 64-inch reach. That doesn't necessarily thrill me, although Reed is only 5'3" and her reach is actually shorter. So I guess I don't know what I'm talking about there. Yeah, I mean, look, this is more of a fade on Reed. I don't know that Martinez's competition has been all that good. There have been obviously some good fighters with the boxing style, aka Aureen Aldana, come out of Mexico. Again, I don't know the camp. I don't know who she trains with. This is more of a fade on Reed, but I don't know if I can endorse a bet. I mean, the line is a little wide. I think this fight is going to go a little bit overlooked. I'm not sure where the Reed love is coming from, other than the fact that perhaps people think Reed is more of a complete martial artist than, Melissa Martinez here. I guess if I need, you're asking me for a pick, I'll go with Martinez. More of a fade on Reed and how bad she looked against Sam Hughes.
That is what we're here to do, Joe. We're here to pick fights.
I'm gonna pick Martinez then.
Chris, who you got?
Yeah, well, I can, since Joe has abdicated his throne for this fight, I'm gonna go ahead and call myself the Elise Reed whisperer, because I have called all of her fights in the octagon correctly so far. including being on McKenna, on her against McKenna rather, when I saw basically the entire world on McKenna. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Reed. It's not with a bunch of confidence. If I could trust her to wrestle at all, it would be more, because we've seen Martinez get pretty dominated on the ground. But at least Elise Reed's going to come forward. At least she's going to pressure. At least she's going to throw in some combination. And I mean, you say Martinez is a world-class striker. I don't know. I don't really get that vibe from watching her.
Okay.
I think that she can get rattled and flustered pretty easily from what I saw. And if Reed can just be busier here, I think that she can just throw enough out there to take some rounds. Again, if she wrestled, this pick would be a little easier. This is not. I don't have very strong Elise Reed love. I don't know how you could. I mean, that 70 is her highest score, so cash option at best for what she's been since she's been here. But the pick is going to be nominally Reed, just because I just don't see Martinez anything all that special.
All right, next fight up, we're going to talk about Hailey Alatang, 8,400, taking on Chad on Helliger. I can't say these names. On Helliger. That guy, Chad. I'm just going to call him Chad because he's a giant Chad.
Yeah.
Line on this fight, Alatang minus 170, Chad plus 145. It's funny. I'm terrible with the last name because I like Chad. I think he's a good dog play this week, especially in terms of GPP potential with upside. Chris, you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have some scarcity favorite here. I feel everyone on Alatang, and I don't really get it. I understand.
Oh my god, I agree with Chris. Ah, shit. I'll look for something.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I said I meant to say I see everybody on Helliger, and I don't really.
Oh really? I've seen a lot of people on Hailey. That's interesting.
Safe. Okay, so you're safe. Don't worry. But he comes forward. He's varied. He'll mix his takedowns, and he's got some good kicks. He gets hit a lot. His hands are always down. Alatang Hailey is very powerful, very good on the counter, and the Strader was doing this weird thing where he would fake a shot and just leave himself wide open to be countered. Alatang Hailey is not going to do that. I think I wouldn't be surprised to just see like a hard counter shot coming in and then have that lead to a finish. I don't. Hailey's a good enough wrestler. I see people talking about on Helliger's wrestling, which is fine. Alatang Hailey's a good wrestler. So I don't think he's just going to be taking that at will. He's also very strong. So ditto for that. And again, I just don't see him as open defensively as a guy like Jesse Strader was. So, I like Alatang Hailey, and I think this can be a spoiler. I mean, besides that Kroom fight, had never put up big points. I think we can see a similar thing happen again. So I'm taking Alatang Hailey here.
Joe, who you got?
Yeah, so look, I mean, a 35-year-old bantamweight, 12-5. What is this? Another Pride of Canada? I believe so. Yeah. Split decision win on DW's Contender Series. Was a minus 240 favorite against Jesse Strader, who is not very good. I look. I don't think anyone expected Alatang to have that, that knockout in his last fight, but I think he's a tough fighter. I think he's got more momentum. He's younger. I'm going to go with Alatang here. I just think that, this is not a bad matchup for him, and I like him to get the W.
All right, moving on. Let's talk Norma Dumont. 9,200, taking on Danielle Wolf at 7,000. Norman's minus 390, Wolf plus 320. Chick Whisper, you got a take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually very surprised. Now, I don't know, very surprised, but how big Danielle Wolf was at the weigh-ins. My God, she towers over Norma Dumont. I will say this though, and I agree with Brett Apley 100%. of all the disciplines that go into MMA, boxing is probably the least valuable. And that is really what Danielle Wolf, brings to the table here, right? She's a boxer. I think she's fought up to like 152, and she's huge. She's massive. I mean, but she's also 39 years old. Her pro boxing record is 27-14. So that tells you that maybe she was moderately good, but 27-14 isn't a record I would really brag all that much about. She really didn't outstrike her opponent as a -130 favorite on Dana White Contender Series. I think the path to victory here is, people are going to look at the size just like they looked at how Megan Anderson, towered over Holly Holm. How did Holly Holm win? She took Megan Anderson down. And that's really what Norma Dumont needs to do here. She needs to get this fight to the ground. Do not get into a striking battle with someone who's arguably a better striker, although I don't even know that that's true. But just from a pure size perspective, I mean, Danielle Wolf is huge. I mean, she's 5'11". She's got a 70-inch reach. What's Norma Dumont at real quick? Norma Dumont is 5'7". So she's giving up 4 inches of height and 3 inches of reach, but she's picking up 8 years in age. And she is at least, say what you will, she's at least a martial artist. She is, she's beat Aspen Ladd, beat Felicia Spencer in a split decision. She's got some good wins on her record. So anyway, I'm going to go with Dumont here.
Chris, who you got?
Yeah, I think you have to take Dumont. I was surprised at how big Wolf looked in weigh-ins too, because Dumont is one of the stronger fighters in this division. So it'll be interesting to see if that helps the takedown defense at all.
She looked tiny, didn't she?
Yeah, it's tough on weigh-in day because then they rehydrate and. I don't like
just from a height perspective. I mean,
yeah.
Dumont looked tiny compared to Wolf.
Right. No, I hear you, but the one thing for Wolf is, I mean, she's got power for this division. I think the reason why she wins on the Contender Series, because if you look at the strike total, it's like 55-33 or something. But a lot of the strikes from her opponent were like leg kicks and knee stomps, and she was kind of rocking her opponent every time she was hitting there. So that could be the X factor here. But look, literally one professional MMA fight a couple of years ago now, or was it last year?
2 years. Who actually has a fight and then takes that much time off? Makes no sense.
I looked at Tapology because I was like, okay, has she been doing grappling matches at all? Or nothing. No other MMA that I can find. So I'm sure her coaches are very good. How well can they prepare her for something without any actual top-line experience for that long? I just don't see how you can go with it. You want to take some Danielle Wolf to see if that power translates? Go for it. But I'm not going to have very many. If I have a few, you have to go. You have to go Dumont here and hope for some cash play with the takedown. She does have 2 submissions on her record. I'd be very curious to see what Danielle Wolf's submission defense looks like, if it's existent at all. So we can't discount that. I think the flyer here can go both ways. Obviously, Dumont has a lot of ground to cover, and it's got to be done quickly. And I don't really expect her to be that committed to the wrestling, at least initially. But the take has to be Dumont.
Next fight up. Doing Jake Collier at 9,100, taking on a guy who I think is getting off pretty easy based on all these weigh-in shenanigans. Right. Chris Barnett, who missed the heavyweight limit, and the second guy ever to do that, so that's fun. Yeah, he's 7,100.
Like KO is probably, if you're going to take a stab at something, that's probably not a bad play.
No. All right, Sean, I think you're in there.
Yeah, that's right. Martinez plus 700. Trust me. This fight is going to be a slow-paced heavyweight shit show. That's kind of how I think this fight plays out. Joe?
Yeah, no, I think Collier is going to get the finish here, either by sub or by knockout ground and pound. I mean, there's a rumor going around that Barnett, Dawa Dudu, and Khamzat were all at the the launch of Khabib's new tiramisu company. They were doing a tasting, and that's how they all missed weight. But like, I don't
That
know
would be
how
that
at
would be
5'9"
your own rumor, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know how at 5'9" you miss weight at heavyweight. I mean, did this guy even train for the fight is what I need to worry about. So like I like Collier. I think he is a sneaky pivot off of Almeida and Khamzat. I mean, I would be very surprised if Barnett wins. I mean, I don't like to hang my hat on middling heavyweights, but I really do think everything has moved in his favor, and I think he can do to Huggy Bear what he did to Chase Sherman.
Huggy Bear. Fucking
Yeah,
Huggy Bear. Who you got, Chris?
I'm going with Beast Boy here, but I think I agree with Joe, and I actually think Collier usually brings the offense. I think he's for heavyweight he's reasonably active from that former middleweight status maybe.
Yeah,
And,
well, I mean, why is he a heavy? Whatever. Let's. I'm not gonna go into it today. Enough other things
Look,
to worry
Collier
about.
got ripped off in his last fight too. I mean, that was a fight he clearly won.
I think he wanted to. It was kind of close, but anyway, I think Beast Boy, like, he loves the stuff that he finished. What's his name with the spinning kicks and the this and the that, and the big strike. And Collier is just gonna flood the zone with offense, and Beast Boy is gonna get tired, and he can either take him down and sub him, or he can knock him out. I really think either path is available. I'm totally with Joe. I think that I actually think Collier is pretty easy here in terms of a play. I agree. I think that 100 plus is very attainable. We all like when Huggy Bear got. Oh, I switched it. See that? We all like when Huggy Bear got the call here. He's a
Huggy Bear.
He's a fun guy. He's athletic for the weight, of course, but he's just not at this level. And Collier is just going to do, middling heavyweight things with the volume, and that's going to be enough. So my pick is Collier.
All right, let's move on here. Talk about Jamie Pickett, 8,300, taking on Dennis Tulilanen. Line on this fight: Pickett's minus 130. Dennis plus 110. I think it's another really sneaky fight to target for GPPs. I'm on the Pickett side. It's not with a ton of confidence. I do think his bigger punching power and volume will get him a win, but if he gets knocked out, I'm just going to shrug and go, yeah, that's about right. Like, that's my level of confidence in the pick. Like, yeah, that happened. All right. Chris, who you got?
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this. I like a little bit about Tallulah, and I like how he pressures his opponents and sort of swarms them. I like Pickett's takedown upside. Certainly, Tallulah couldn't stop the takedowns against Kisraev. I don't know that the wrestling is comparable, but he put up very little resistance. So I'll stick with Tallulah here just because Pickett hasn't been that stuff with his takedowns either in terms of efficiency, and also not terribly active. So another spot where maybe he can just get overwhelmed. I think it's a good fight to target either side, because I think either the wrestling can happen or a knockout can happen. Yeah, I'm gonna take Tallulah here. Get a little savings there at the 7900.
Joe, who you got?
Yeah. So how did this fight even get on this card? Like, I can't bet anybody, or I can't select anyone who was KO'd by the Beverly Hills Ninja. So for that reason and that reason only, I'm on Tallulah here. I've got honestly, it was even painful to research this fight because I really didn't see why this fight was on a pay-per-view card. Like, how did this even, like, couldn't they find a better filler fight? I mean, bring Paige Van Zandt back. I mean, like, what is going on here with this fight? Makes no sense at all. Pickett's 13-7. Tululin got nuked in the second round in his last fight. Like, does anybody really care? I mean, I guess I'll go with Tululin. He's a slight underdog. I can't imagine I'm going to have that much exposure to this fight, although it could bite me in the ass if someone kind of goes out there and, gets an early finish. But this is kind of just a fight I haven't really focused on all that much. So, for no other reason than I'm fading Pickett, I'll take Tululin.
All right, next fight up. Let's take now the largest favorite on the card. Do not forget that Jailton Almeida, 9,500, taking on Anton Turkalj at 6,700. Line on this fight: Almeida minus 600, Anton plus 450. I expect Almeida to smash. Let's move on with my day and get to the more exciting fights. Joe, you have anything to add there?
No, it's Almeida.
Chris.
The pleasure man, as he's known, which sends a shiver up my spine. No.
A shiver, or is that different, or is that some kind of excitement you don't want to be talking about?
Yeah, he sends me to the fainting couch, is what he does. But yeah, it's got to be Almeida. Turkalj is just gonna be crazy, and he's probably gonna get taken down and smashed. So Almeida.
Wow, we all agreed in the fight quickly. I don't know what to say about that. I'm gonna move on before something bad happens. Hakeem Dawodu, 8,900, who by the way looked awful on the scales, and he missed weight as well, I believe, correct?
Yes.
He looked bad.
He missed once and didn't try again. So that was
taking on Julian Erosa at 7,300. Line on this fight: Dawodu minus 210, Erosa plus 180. I gotta tell you, I was pretty undecided on this fight all week, and I was leaning towards Dawodu. Which I know our friend YC Lindsay, this is a Erosa guy, and it was close. And his point was, look, your only way to discount Erosa is he gets finished. And okay, but Dawodu can't finish a ham sandwich. So I kind of thought it was going to be kind of just a point fight type of decision for Dawodu. And now I see all this. So initially, I see the weights much in the weigh-ins. I'm like, oh, Erosa, dog creeping up my list. I'll be overweight to him. And now I got 7,000 different dogs to play. And I want to play Erosa, but do I really need him? We'll talk about some of the salary implications later. Point is, the weight is actually a big issue for me. I was coin flip on this fight, leaning Dawodu before it. As bad as he looked, I know they all rehydrate, and I will fall into this trap sometimes. It's just enough to push me over the edge. I'll take Erosa via late finish. Chris, who you have?
Yeah, I don't care about that. And what I would say is that a lot of times fighters make finishes, because what I'll say here is that Erosa gets hit a lot. Dawodu is going to be so much faster. I mean, unless Erosa can get the fight to the ground immediately.
This was my initial thought. He looks so bad. Bad.
You've seen what's her name? I always bring her up, who literally shakes on the scale and goes out there and gets finishes.
Aspen Ladd.
I mean, I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody not to do it. Full stop. I do not. That's like chins to me. I don't put a lot of weight into it. It all depends on how you rehydrate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
you're also betting on a guy who was finished by Danny Henry.
Yeah, I mean, he got clipped by one big shot, and it could happen to anybody, And then there was some nice jiu-jitsu in there from Henry, actually, if we have to say it.
No, that's fair. That is fair.
But I really think that Dawodu is a sneaky finish target. I think the KO is something like plus 250. So if you want to key in on that, just because he's going to be so much faster. Erosa, I mean, it's all heartwarming when he comes back and gets these finishes, but speed kills, and like Jeff Neal and Frank Camacho, it's just gonna end up being too much, and it's gonna be overwhelming, and Erosa is gonna get finished again. And not a lot of people are going to be on Dawodu because he doesn't score well. But I expect a big score here, and I will be overweight. Hakeem Dawodu is the pick.
Joe, who you got?
Well, as much as it pains me to really agree with almost everything Chris said,
Woo!
I was on
I
Arosa
gotta end
early.
this. Clearly this podcast is broken. Like
No,
something's not
I was
right.
on Arosa early, and a good friend of ours may or may not have a play on Dawoodu by KO. Someone whose opinion I highly respect, for a lot of the reasons that Chris referenced. I will
You
probably
can just
make
say
a
it's
bet.
me, Joe. Okay.
Well, it's not. It's actually not you, but like someone else, which actually reinforced. You know, I don't think he'll be highly owned. I think you're
Right.
right. It was bad luck at weigh-ins. He's only scored 100 points once in his career on DraftKings. I believe it was his last fight. He scored 100 points. Other than that, he's been
Yes.
a prolific underachiever from a DraftKings perspective. Um, Look, we all know if Arosa wins, he could break the slate. I mean, he's consistently put up 100-point scores in his wins. He's won as an underdog before. So I'm not telling you I'm not going to have shares of Arosa in GPPs, but I wouldn't touch him in cash. And I do think that Dawoodu is a very sneaky play, and he's got very sneaky finish upside. So, for that reason, I'm on Dawoodu.
Sneaky. Next fight up, another one that I gotta remove my salary limit exposure for this card because Ion Kutalaba 8,600, Johnny Walker 7,600. Kutalaba is -205, Johnny Walker plus 175. Look, I'm picking Johnny Walker. I'm the dog I was picking that I was going to target. Not that I wouldn't have plenty of Kutalaba. I know the knockout power's there, but -210 for a guy in Ion Kutalaba who in his last, how many fights? In his last 5 fights has won one of them. Facts, period, end of story. And in 2 of those, and in 3 of those, he was finished. Look, I know Johnny Walker is fallen in hard times. I blame Jackson Wink, by the way. I know Johnny Walker's also won one of his last 5, and he was finished in 2 of those 5 fights.
You blame SBG?
SPG, sorry, I said Jackson Wink because I hate Jackson Wink too. I blame all those guys. I blame John Kavanaugh. I don't know why Jackson Wink was in my head, but I blame Kavanaugh. They ruined this guy, but
they both have
1 in 5
for ruining fighters. But
yeah, and that's true. Johnny Walker is finished by good guys as well. I don't think the both strength of schedule is pretty good. I like the line. I like the line value on Walker. I also hate Kutalaba's gas tank. I think Walker is more explosive. He might have the best gas tank either. Like it's a coin flip type of fight to me, and everybody's picking Ion Kutalaba, and I don't totally see why. So let me take the other side in terms of Johnny Walker. I was more excited about it when I needed dogs to play, but again, that's kind of gone out the window. So he's still my pick. Yeah. Still going to have some Kutalaba, but it's the line does feel wrong to me. I do think there is value in Johnny Walker because I do straight up see this fight as a coin flip. And if I was handicapping it, I might even give Johnny Walker a slight edge. Like I was expecting to see Johnny Walker like -130 or something, but -210 Kutalaba, that feels wrong to me. They both suck. They're both big guys with power.
Who's the better DraftKings fighter though? Kutalaba.
Who gives a shit, Joe? If he loses, he's not going to score well.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though, right? Not is there anything to convince you that Johnny Walker is going to have a different game plan and that his jaw has gotten better? Like, I don't see anything there. I mean, he could get taken down 11 times in 2 rounds by Kutalaba, and he'll put up 55 points plus control time. I mean, Johnny Walker's going to have to knock him out.
Right, but that's always the case. In Kutalaba, though, I get it. I honestly, if I make him predict the way this fight ends, and I'm going to have some Kutalaba. I was more excited about this before all the shit happened. I think Johnny Walker is going to win in the first round via flying knee as Kutalaba takes a messy shot. I'll tell you exactly how.
He's a great contrarian GPP play.
Right, especially now. Like I don't even know what his ownership's going to be now.
Is that explosive Johnny Walker is still here with us?
Well, yeah, that's part of it.
That is the other thing. For me, I think it's a coin flip fight. The line feels weird to me, but I mean, you can talk up Kutalaba, fine. I'm not saying I'm totally against it, but it's this whole card is just it's all foobar now. Joe, You go first.
I'm on Kutlaba. I mean, I think you already probably figured that out.
Really?
I mean,
What?
I just have no faith in Walker.
You hate
I would like
SPG
to
more than I
see
do.
him. I mean, he's 30 years old. I guess he could still make some changes. I've always loved Kutlaba. I mean, I obviously for DraftKings, takedowns are gold. And, like even in his losses, he scored some decent points. Not all of them, but like, if he gets 10 takedowns, and again, I don't know that because Walker is so tall, I think he's going to be a lot easier to get taken down. I loved Kutalaba in the ceremonial weigh-ins. He comes up, he rips his shirt off and throws it out to the audience. I like Kutalaba here. I mean, again, Johnny Walker is 1-4 in his last 5 fights as well. I just think Kutalaba has got some more advantages. I think he can either catch him with one of those wild overhand rights, or just take him down and grind him out. And I don't even know if Walker is going to be as successful in getting up as some of the other guys, because Kutlaba does not have great control once he takes his fighters down. But I just don't know that Walker is going to even know what to do when he gets taken down the first time. So,
guys, I'm on the ground. What next?
I've fallen and I can't get up. Where's the clapper? So give me Kutlaba here. I think he's going to be fairly popular. I mean, at 8.5K. And to your point, Shaun, I do think Walker, and our good friend Brett Apley feels the same way, that Walker could make a really excellent contrarian GPP play because of all the odds value that you're going to find on the gentleman at 7.5K. That we're going to talk about that fight soon. But I think he just, that's going to cut his ownership in half at 7.6K when you've got a fighter who's a odds favorite at 7.5K. So I think he makes a good contrarian play for GPPs.
Chris, who you got?
Yeah, I was surprised. I think it's just a lot of our crew was taking Walker. I'm on Kutalaba heavy here. Just because, he sells out for the takedowns, gasses himself out, et cetera, et cetera. We already saw Nikita Krylov do this to Johnny Walker.
Yep.
Why can't Kutalaba do it? I don't really see a ton of difference there. And I think that you want to talk about hard times. Not only is he 4 of his last 5, but in that fight with Ryan Spawn, he got knocked down twice for winning that fight. So, it's more like who do you trust here? At least I expect Kutalaba to be active and do what he always does. And if he doesn't catch a flying knee or something, Walker, then, and again, as I say, who even knows if that guy is still here, then, how many takedowns, to Joe's point, is he even going to take? I don't see the get-ups in Walker's future. He's not a sub guy like Ryan Spawn, for as big and bricked up as he is and powerful. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, so it makes sense to me that he subs Kutalaba when Kutalaba gets tired. I don't see that from Johnny Walker. I don't even know does he have many subs on his record? I know we certainly haven't seen any.
But he's from Brazil.
He is from Brazil, but
therefore, in all seriousness, he has one.
Okay.
He won via. Interestingly enough, it's one he could find in this fight. He won via guillotine.
Yeah.
So that's something. He's finished a guillotine in a fight. So
Shaun wants to hang the hat there. I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm just. It's not how I'm. I think if he wins the fight, I think he catches Kutalaba coming in for a takedown.
Yeah, but I just don't see it. I think it's the worst of both worlds because there's no submission threat really, and the explosiveness is gone. So I don't really see how he wins. I'm taking Kutalaba.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about. Sorry, can't sing. Almost there. First, we got to talk about Irina Aldana at 8,800, taking on Macy Chiasson at 7,400. Line in this fight, Aldana is minus 175, Macy plus 150. Again, something else that's just gone overlooked because of all the other craziness. This fight is now a catchweight.
Yeah.
Macy asked for it to be at 140, and Aldana said okay. Why?
Aldana's big. Aldana's big.
Aldana's big, but she was closer to weight. She was going to be on weight. Macy is bigger. Like, Macy's had the weight. Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Make her suffer, make her make the weight, or take some of her money. I don't. It was weird. I've seen a lot of love for Macy this week. I think that'll also I wasn't there. I'm on Aldana. But that's one of those, just like Johnny Walker and some of the other dogs that aren't as necessary now. Um, kind of happening. I suspect she'll be lower owned than she was going to be, but I did see Macy popping up on people's radars. To me, I think Aldana's a better striker. I think it plays out at range. I don't think she'll be able to weight bully her. I mean, the path is there for Macy, but I'm taking Aldana. Chick Whisperer Joe, who you got?
Yeah, I like Eldon as well. I mean, Macy's really she's got a 2-inch height advantage, but I believe that Eldon is actually has a better reach. She's a far better striker. She's really worked on her grappling, her wrestling. She has got some of the biggest thighs. I mean, outside of like a split decision loss to Rocky Pennington, who's not a bad fighter, I think we'd all agree, especially, several years ago. Her only loss is a decision loss to Holly Holm. So I really don't see, and she was, and that was pretty an even fight from a betting perspective. I honestly don't see, I don't really see this as that big a challenge for her. I mean, Yana Kuniskaiva, she was, plus 100
Sorry.
in that fight, and she ground and pounded out Kuniskaiva in the first round. She hasn't fought in over a year, which is a little concerning, but it looks like she's had a couple of canceled bouts. Durandamain, she was going to fight Jermaine Durandamain. Durandamain pulled out due to an injury, and then Aldana had an injury against Aspen Ladd in April, so just kind of some bad luck there. But at 34, she really has to make a move soon, and I think she's got some skills. So I really like her here a lot. And again, this is another one of those higher end pivot plays off of the dead chalk, that you're going to need if you want to win a GPP and not split it with, anybody who can read and understands odds value.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. Chris, who you got?
Yeah, I'm actually on Chiason here.
Wow.
More so now that it's a catch weight, because when you look at those two losses against Holm and Pennington, what were they? They were grapple heavy. They were two strong fighters, and Chiason is big already, as Shaun said. She was able to throw around Norma Dumont, who's big in her own right for this division. So I just think that, like Aldana doesn't really have that power that we saw against Ketlin Vieira, so she's gonna have to piece her up for 15 minutes, and I think Chiason can make this fight messy and grapple heavy and get what she needs to get done. And I like the price, and as Joe said, you're gonna need those pivots, so I'm taking Chiason.
Oh, that's a super hot take.
There you go.
All right. I've been thinking and looking how we're going to approach these last three fights. We're up to the money three fights of this card. Look, tons of DraftKings odds value out there. I'm going to cover all these fights and the odds to start with. We'll break down the fights one at a time, but let's do the odds and strategy piece now up front. Okay. Li Jingliang is 9,000. He's the underdog against Daniel Rodriguez. He's plus 135. You have a favorite in Daniel Rodriguez, 7,500 minus 155. Going to be chalk and odds value. Okay. Khamzat Chimaev, Kevin Holland. As a result of this, we have two guys priced 9,600 Chimaev, 8,700 Holland. Two guys above the min price point fighting each other. Chimaev still minus 580. Comeback on Holland's plus 440. Chimaev retains most of his value, takes a little bit of a hit because he odds-wise should be cheaper than Almeida. He's a little more expensive, but there's tons of money to play with on this card. He still has value. It hurts the value of Holland, who becomes just a GPP dart throw at this point. Tony Ferguson, Nate Diaz now are the two guys who benefit 5 rounds. Two guys priced at the bottom of the table fighting each other. Ferguson 72, Diaz 66. Right now, the line I'm looking at, it kind of fluctuates depending on where you're looking at. Ferguson is the favorite no matter where you look, anywhere between minus 125. Bet Rivers has him at minus 159. So somewhere in that range. To come back on Nate Diaz plus 18, anywhere between plus 105 and plus 130. In cash games, the first thing you do, stack this fight. That's your advice, period, end of story. That's what you do. I'm going to go one step further. Unless I don't see how the winner of this fight isn't on the optimal.
Mm.
If you're making 150 lineups, 150 lineups need to have either Nate Diaz or Tony Ferguson. I think you can make the argument everyone's going to do that. They're going to be chalk. So-and-so, I want to try and win solo. I think you're getting too cute. I think it's too cute. I think the odds, it's just such a low value play that I don't think it works out. I will say, conversely, if you want to get different, I would prefer, rather than play neither of them in a lineup, play both of them in a lineup. Because there's a possibility they throw hands for 5 rounds and, maybe only the other huge scores are all the big favorites, and they both end up on the optimal. We've seen stacks end up on the optimal before when they're priced appropriately. So I would rather stack them than play neither of them. Strategy-wise, cash games, you play that fight, both of them. You play Chimaev, you play Daniel Rodriguez at odds value, you plug in you probably play Jailton. And I know I'm supposed to be giving away lineups, but this is just common sense. This is how you need to be thinking about it. That's it. So I'm gonna do it right now. If you the obvious cash game lineup, I don't care. Joe didn't want to give it away. It is Diaz, Ferguson, Chimaev, D-Rod. I gotta find Jailton. That leaves you 90. God, that leaves you 9,600. Fuck. You got tons of odds value here, like tons of it. Then do you play Norman Dumont, Jake Collier, Hakeem Dawodu? Like, who do you plug in that last spot? You're leaving a lot of money on the table this week. It's just what it is in cash games. It doesn't feel right, but that is the odds value you were looking with. So that's your decision, at least in my mind. Anybody strongly disagree with that? That your cash game decision is Dumont versus Collier versus Dawodu versus Aldana?
I don't know if I would have given it away, but okay, yeah.
It's common sense. It's. I mean, we're here to teach you. It's basic odds value. You stack the main event. You play the giant guys. There's 2 guys priced 7,200 under fighting in the main event. There's a favorite at 7,500, and there's 2 massive favorites to load up on. There's 1 spot left, and you can still play whoever you want.
Right.
So I mean, who do you want to plug in that last spot? Good luck.
Down to.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Let's go back to in terms of GPP strategy. I usually have I like to limit myself to only play lineups with 49,300 or higher. 700 on the table or less is my general rule of thumb. Get rid of those type of rules this week. Fucking pitch them, because they don't matter. It's gonna be a crazy ass week.
Yes,
so strategy wise, anybody got anything to add to my little rundown there?
No, I thought it was pretty good.
That's right. I deserve a raise. So Jake, if you're listening, we need to talk about what I get paid. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, there's just no choice in it. If you're looking at it logically, a stack in the main event could get you easily 140 with those salaries. So what do you? I mean, it's a spot where the losing fighter could easily get 30 or 40, and the winning fighter could get upwards of 100. So there's no other play to make. As far as are we breaking down technique for the fights, or you just want?
I was doing just strategy for now, and then I'll kick off the fights.
Okay, all right, sweet, good.
All right, so the first fight up in this madness is we're going to go the Leech and Rodriguez. I gave the prices, I gave the odds. I won't redo that. So Leech versus Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez's punching power will be too much. I think it'll hurt the Leech. I do think he wins the fight. Of all the crazy odds value play to put out there, if you're going to go off the rails anywhere, I'd go off the rails and throw a little bit at the Leech maybe. He's the only one of the crazy stuff to do. I would play the Leech before I played Kevin Holland. Is I guess the major.
You're muted, I think, Shaun.
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
It's that Long Island internet. One more sleep. Anybody notice the haircut he got? Look at that haircut.
It's very nice.
I know. So let's pick it up.
Oh, yeah, he wants us to vamp, I think. Okay, so I agree. I kind of like Li Jinglong here. I just sort of his ability to come forward and throw big shots in combination, walk his opponents into traps. Li Jinglong hits plenty hard. He knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio clean, which is difficult to do. Yeah, you're muted, I think, Shaun. It just says you're.
Yeah, it
just
says
try to
that
unmute yourself.
the little arrow is up showing that you're muted.
Hello?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I guess that was hard, huh? To unmute.
No, I restarted everything. When you unplug and plug it back in, it mutes on the screen. So it was a microphone issue. Where'd you guys get left off on me?
We're talking about Chris is giving a pick.
I'm picking the Leech because I think that
wow.
Daniel Rodriguez. This is going to be an interesting fight to see who takes the center, as is Ferguson Diaz. But this is an interesting one too. I like the Leech to sort of take control of this fight, use that grappling a little bit. Daniel Rodriguez, a little too hittable for my taste. So is the Leech, but the Leech I think might have the more power of the two. He hits very hard. And I think his boxing is a little better. If I'm being very honest. I think D-Rod's jab may be a little bit better. I think in general I would take the Leech. And I think this is going to be sort of a no man's land where people are going to say, well, all right, it's a late replacement opponent. I'm just going to take Rodriguez. But, the Leech is dangerous. He's always dangerous. He's been using his wrestling a little bit more now. D-Rod's takedown defense is pretty good, but I just like everything that the Leech does, and I expect him to be there for 15 minutes regardless. So I'm going to take a shot on the Leech here.
So I did say this, by the way, while I was muted. I'm picking Daniel Rodriguez. I think his shots will hurt more. I think he's going to have some advantage there in terms of power. I think is more impactful. I don't think it's going to be a massive score. I'm not predicting a knockout in this fight. But if I'm going to mess around anywhere with all these crazy prices, I would take the Leech before I took Kevin Holland. I do think So I'm picking Rodriguez, but it's a weird fight that I wish I had more time to look into. But I just think Rodriguez's power and volume, keeps coming. I think he'll win a volume-based decision. Joe, who you got?
Yeah, I'm pretty conflicted here because I actually liked. I like Rodriguez against Holland. I thought he was a good play at 7.5K as an underdog. And now I'm not sure he should be a -150 favorite against Leech. I see this as pick him at worse. Maybe Leech even being a slight favorite in this fight, which is why I'm so conflicted here. Every bone in my body tells me to, even the ones that aren't like broken, are telling me to, take the odds value. But like to Chris's point, Leech is a underdog at a favorite's salary or significant favorite's salary on DraftKings. So like, where's the ownership going to be? You really want to get contrarian. You take Leech in this fight and you play him in GPPs and, that's your contrarian play. Everybody is going to be on Rodriguez. I liked Rodriguez against Holland. I thought he had a legitimate shot to win. If not, I thought he had a good floor at 7.5K. God, what am I going to do here? I obviously want to play the line value at -160, but I'm going to take the Leech. I think Rodriguez is probably the way to go on DraftKings just for the line value, but I really do. If I'm capping this, I see this as a pick'em fight. And the fact that Rodriguez is -150, I think is going to give people a lot of false confidence in this fight that it's not closer than it actually is. So I'll take the Leech, but I'm definitely going to have a lot of exposure to Rodriguez.
You guys are crazy. No, I get it. I do. Busting balls. Let's move on to Khamzat Chimaev and Kevin Holland. Look, something's up with Khamzat Chimaev. I've never liked this shtick, and it is not. You can go back to me saying I said it before. He's trying to be some kind of weird cross between Connor and Khabib, and I've never liked this shtick. I smash everybody. Like I don't like it. He clearly is breathing his own hype. The Darren Till thing is beyond weird. It's just something I don't like, and I'm going to be rooting really hard for Kevin Holland to pull this upset. I don't think he does. I'm still on Chimaev because Chimaev should just shoot a takedown and we'll just call it a day here. But I don't know. Something's up with Chimaev, and I've been saying it before all this giant fiasco. Something does not feel right about this guy. I do think in the end he's a fraud. I tweeted all the thing he missed by 7.5 pounds and smiles and gives the finger this weird smirk and like Ham fraud Chimfraudev. That's what we got to call him. Chris,
your most devastating burn yet, by the way.
Exactly. That's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, all of that could be true, but I can't watch the Derek Brunson fight and be like, Kevin.
No, exactly. It's hard to pick him. It's just something's up with Chimaev, whether it's this time or next. Something's not right.
We've seen Kevin Holland's takedown defense get a little better. I don't know if that's going to matter against somebody like Chimaev. You want to throw in a couple to see if he's rattled from the Gilbert Burns experience. Go for it. Kevin Holland's certainly dangerous, but I can't do it. I'm taking Chimaev here. Good.
Chimaev. I mean, I'm with you. I would not be all that upset if he lost, and I think this is a more difficult fight for him on several levels than Diaz, but I don't think the outcome is going to be any different. Now, I didn't realize until you guys told me that this was going to be a 5-round fight. This fight can get interesting if it goes, in my mind, if it goes beyond 2 rounds, because we saw how tired Chimaev got against Gilbert Burns. Now my only problem is that, Kevin Holland gets a little goofy sometimes and doesn't keep his eye on the prize. And I think that's something he needs to do here. But I'm going to stick with my Chimaev pick. I don't know that I'm going to have much of Kevin Holland, maybe the odd couple percent, in the MMEs, but I'm going to go with Chimaev, but I really do think that if you want to differentiate yourself, you need to look elsewhere in the upper tier.
I don't hate it. All right, main event time. The fight we all really wanted in the first place anyway. Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, gonna lock it up. Ferguson looked better than he looked in a while before he got flatlined by Michael Chandler. Nate Diaz admittedly didn't really train for this fight. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I think Tony Ferguson will be better over 5 rounds, but they might hug for 5. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I am it's honestly riveting TV. I think Tony Ferguson wins a striking match and just pure volume wins. I think. But you telling me that Nate Diaz can't Stockton slap cold cock Tony Ferguson in the second round? No, you can't say that. So it's riveting. I think Tony Ferguson wins more times than not if the chin holds up. Joe, who you got?
I am going to go with Tony here. I think, again, this is, going to be an awesome fight. I mean, you got guys that are going to fight in the phone booth. I don't think either one is going to look to grapple unless it's by accident. They're both BJJ black belts, but I would really be shocked if, this fight, doesn't stay standing. What I think is that, obviously Diaz does not wear damage well. He's got all that scar tissue. He's a bleeder. Give Tony props. He did look pretty good in that first round against Chandler until he got nuked in the second round. I thought he won the first round. I like Tony here. Like I'm going to have some exposure, obviously, to Diaz. I mean, at 6.7K, that opens up a lot of possibilities. 7.2K opens up a lot of possibilities. I think there's definitely going to be a lot of ownership in this fight. And I think there should be because, you got two guys that are, lower salary tiered that are in a main event. I definitely think you want to have exposure to this fight. I don't think it would be unprecedented to have at least 90% exposure to this fight. You obviously you want to have some exposure outside of this fight.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think that is, that's going to be the GPP. You need to have exposure to this fight. Now, again, if you're being a contrarian, that's where the other 10% comes in, or 15%, or whatever you want to do. But I think that this fight should be the highest owned fight on the slate.
Yeah.
Chris, who you got?
Yeah, this is the other fight I was talking about, where it's going to be really fascinating to see, because we got two guys who love to come forward and really cut off their opponent. We saw Nate really do that against Anthony Pettis and then taper off. And I think that all the craziness of Tony Ferguson, I think Nate can just use his jab and superior boxing and sort of keep that at bay. I also think if somebody wrestles, it is going to be Nate. A lot of control time in that Pettis fight and in the second Conor fight. So we've seen him do that. I think Nate Diaz's jiu-jitsu is probably better. For as slick as all the 10th Planet stuff is, Tony's jiu-jitsu has never struck me as all that, amazing. At least not that we've seen in the cage. So I'm going to take Diaz here by a slim margin, but I'm with Shaun rather, that I don't really know exactly how it's going to play out, and it's going to be fun to watch.
I'm riveted on this one. All right, guys, hot takes, guys in chat, fire them up. Let me know what you guys think. Before we do that, let's make sure to plug rotowire.com/free for 10-day free trial to all their premium content, no credit card required. Please subscribe to the podcast for support our shenanigans and tomfoolery and any other old man word I can throw at you. Now that Chris is back, you can say us calling Chris dumb, although he didn't go too far off the rails this week. So I don't know I don't know what he was doing in his time off, but apparently he's taking his happy smart pills. That being said, hot take, I'll go first because I gave it out earlier. Melissa Martinez via round 1 KO plus 700.
Right.
I think I bet that for like $16 to return like 130 or something like that.
I am going to say Alatong Haley knocks out your boy, Chad and Helligan. And we'll see, we'll see who the real Chad is. Thank you very much.
Oh, Jesus. Well, there goes every compliment I just gave you. Guys in chat, get them fired up. Get them fired up if you can. Last call here. Joe, we got.
It's not a super hot take, but I'm gonna take Dawa Dudu by knockout.
Dawa Dudu.
It's still pretty. It's again the plus 250. So
yeah.
Non coming through. Here comes Non.
There's not a lot of faith in it.
Collier 120 plus.
That would be
so bananas.
Imagine he gets a first minute.
I don't even know if it's a super hot take. Winning, but just to highlight what I think of this card, winning GPP salary under 49,000.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't doubt it.
I can see that.
So, all right, guys, that's what we got for this week for UFC 279 versus blah.
That's right.
We can edit in whatever names you want to later. If you are attacking this banana slate, like all of us are, good luck in those contests. See you for UFC 280.
Peace.
Thanks, everybody.